Welcome, everybody, to Think Outside the Box Office. Today, we're going to be doing the first of many of a new segment called Ink and Frame. We're going to be reviewing movies that are based off of books. Week one here, we're starting with Cujo, the horror novel by Stephen King, early 70s, I believe. What'd you guys think? What'd you guys think of the story, Chris?
The story is pretty cool. It's to me, it's a step outside of Stephen King's norm because it's something that could actually happen. Whereas most of his stuff is like supernatural or fantasy or a little bit of both. But it was cool, and for a guy who seemingly doesn't remember writing any of it, he nailed it. So I got to give it to him, man. What
I
about
was
you,
I
Justin?
was gonna ask, is this the Coke book?
Yeah, this is
Is
the
it
Okay.
book.
is it
I
Coke?
heard
Was
the
it
rumor,
novel?
but I wasn't sure.
I can't
Maybe it was
remember
both.
can't remember if he said Coke specifically, but I know that he said in his on writing book that he doesn't remember writing most of it because of substance abuse problems. I don't know if it was just alcohol or I think it was drugs as well.
But was it? It was the one that his wife pulled out of the trash.
No, that was Carrie.
Oh, okay.
This is the one he said that it's a really good book. I wish I could remember writing it, basically.
Yeah, like I said, he nailed it, man.
It kind of reads like a book that someone wrote on Coke though.
It reads
You
like
know, like Rabid
Carrie.
Dog, it's like very
It reads like Carrie, where there's no chapters. Like in the physical edition of the book, there's no chapters. It's just one like continuous
story.
thing. There's no hardly any like segments or breaks or anything like that. And Carrie was the same way. It just kind of like was just one long literal book, no chapters involved. So it was really reminiscent of that, and I liked it. So
I have the physical edition of Carrie. I've just never gotten around to reading it. So that's one that I got to get through. Yeah, I really, really enjoy Cujo. Like you said, there not being really a supernatural element is a little bit different for King. He did sneak a little bit of that in there, which we'll talk about in a second. Justin, did you enjoy the story? I know you had read it before, correct?
Yeah, I read it before an audiobook. And so this may be my second or third time through. And then I've been watching the movie for, you know, 4 or 5 times over the past 20 years.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it? Do you like it? Is it?
I love it. I think it's great. For one, it really harkens to a presence of the time. I feel like
sure.
you're stuck in like the way the problem is with the car and stuff. It's just modern to that.
Yeah, it really wouldn't be the same today, cell phones and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
for sure.
Right. So
Yeah,
it gives you like a time capsule almost. And then it's
yeah.
interesting that you said about the book not having any chapters because I think it spans over the course like 2.5 days, 3 days. And so it really does tell the story of like a day in the life of the worst day for all these people, you know,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
fascinating,
Yeah, seriously would be a bad day for sure.
especially when for other people, it's going pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess ultimately, yeah, she's having a shit couple days trapped in that car. But I mean, at least she lived, like all the other victims of Cujo, didn't have that option. And
Right.
even her husband with everything going on in their life, having his shit day still didn't even amount to hers. So
Right.
there's tiers of shitty dayness in this book
Right.
represented, and King totally nailed it. So I super enjoyed it. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I think you said, Chris, it wasn't towards the top of your favorite of the King books that you've read.
Right. So I've done about 13 King books. 6 of them are like the Dark Tower series. I've done Carrie, The Mist, On Writing, It, and I did the one he did with Peter Straub, The Talisman, which was awesome. But I think this and Carrie, while I liked them both, they both sit towards the bottom of my King pile. Maybe just because I'm more into the supernatural, like
I feel like
fantasy King work.
you're a
But
little
like
more
I
of a
didn't hate.
unique King reader, I think. You don't go for the classics.
You're right. Yeah. I'm a little bit of a rebel, so
You've never done The Shining,
no,
Pet Cemetery, Christine.
You never
no.
read The Shining?
No, actually, Shining is one. The movie or the book does not interest me in the slightest. I know all
Really?
about him. I know the
They're
highlights,
way
like Red Rum, Jack and Danny Torrance, whatever. It sounds cool. I don't really have an interest in reading it, but like Christine, The Stand, Under the Dome, a Dreamcatcher, like all that stuff. That's on my list. The Stand just doesn't really interest me all that much.
The Shining.
Yeah, that's what I meant. My bad.
Yeah, well, see, for me, Shining's like towards the top of the list. May not be the top. I'm a big Misery fan. Misery might be my favorite, I
Ooh,
think.
forgot about that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's really, really good. That's one I remember I was reading at work in the fluorescent light, and there was one time where I'm like reading it, and I actually got not scared, but like I felt uneasy. I was like, that's another one where like it could actually happen kind of thing. And those are scarier to me.
Yeah,
What?
you said the same thing about movies too, Tyler, about the movies that, like the horror movies that could actually happen to you are the ones that tend to be scarier to you. Whereas my view on movies is kind of the same with books. It's like the paranormal shit that can't happen, right? Quote unquote, whatever. Those tend to be the ones that like get me like, oh shit, like nightmare fuel. Do you guys have a fear of dogs? Like just because even before she gets like trapped and the dog is rabbiting with stuff, she's like pretty hesitant when she goes to Joe Camber's place and is like, whoa, and they're like, he's a nice dog, but she's still like pretty apprehensive about it. And he's a big dog. Would you be the same way? Like, I know I am. I'm not a big guy. So,
I have a healthy respect for dogs. I'm not scared of dogs, especially like a
I'm
Saint
not gonna
Bernard.
have like a visually adverse reaction, but like I'm looking.
Sure. Yeah.
A Saint Bernard is actually supposed to be a pretty friendly dog. It's like they call them like nanny dogs. They're supposed to be really good for families with kids, which is good because they're gigantic. And I think that's one of the scariest things about Cujo is like any dog like with rabies is scary. Like a Chihuahua with rabies would be a little scary. They break skin at all and now you have rabies.
Right.
But if a Chihuahua with rabies comes up, I'm handling it.
Yeah, you can deal with that when it put like.
But but I looked it up, and I think Saint Bernards average out about like 140 to 160, and I think they mentioned in the book that Cujo's a particularly big specimen, like 200 pounds, maybe a little bit less.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's like fighting a guy. It's like fighting a guy on PCP, and if he bites you, you turn into a zombie.
Yeah.
With fangs.
A mean zombie, not a slow zombie, a mean zombie.
Yeah, he ain't no Romero like slow walker. This is like a World War Z coming at you,
Right.
It's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. Before we get too far into this, it's going to be heavy spoilers. You can't really talk about Cujo without talking about the ending. And this book's been out for years and years, over 40 years. So if you haven't read it yet, go read it. If you haven't watched the movie, watch the movie, come back. But yeah, I really love it. I put Cujo kind of towards the top of my King reading. I guess if we want to go over the plot real quick, it's fairly simple. A woman gets stranded in the car with her son and terrorized by a rabid German Shepherd.
No, Saint Bernard.
Oh, what did I say? German Shepherd. Fuck. Saint Bernard. German Shepherd would be pretty terrible.
Yeah, for
pretty
sure.
terrifying too.
Rottweiler, German Shepherd. Even
once you hit the medium large dogs, it's
you get over like 70 pounds, and it's like I don't know.
Yeah. What would you do?
It becomes a challenge. A lot of extra stuff going on in the books. You got the father figure who's having trouble with his job, so he needs to go out of town. You got his wife cheating on him.
Right. You got the affair going on. The book does a good job of it. Kind of gives you several people in the town that you're gonna kind of get familiar with, and then like almost in a Pulp Fiction-y way, all their stories unknowingly to them kind of like intertwine, like the mailman, in the beginning and then at the end. And, you got the Cambers, the people who own Cujo, Joe, the dad, and then there's Brett and Charity, I think is the wife, the mom.
Yeah, correct.
Because you wouldn't even know their story from the book based on the movie, like her and Joe's relationship and, the struggle with the kid to not become Joe and, they go out of town and stuff. The movie like just brushes all over that. And so you don't even know that's a plot line. So, which was cool, which is, I think why I like the book over the movie as well. So
I was going to say one of my least favorite changes they made was excluding Charity and Brett's story. Because Brett is actually my favorite character in the book. Seems like a smart kid. I like seeing his progression through the book. And, his mom takes him out of town so he can see a different kind of life than what he's living in rural Maine. He just they live out on the farm and his dad's kind of a piece of shit and treats his mom bad, so she wants to take him away from that so he could see, like, if you work hard, this is what you can become. You don't have to be your dad, basically. And they
Right.
completely cut all that out, which I understand. You got to make sacrifices when you're taking a book and making it into a movie, because there's only so much screen time you can have. You
Sure.
can't make a 10-hour movie. It's kind of why I think books tend to make better TV series than movies.
It's a good point. Well, even the movie is only like an hour and 32 minutes. Like, to me, it was almost too short. You could have tacked on 10, 15 minutes to include a little bit of the Brett and mom stuff. You could have got some of that, like, inner turmoil monologue that the wife was doing, that Donna was doing in the book, just reevaluating her life and worrying about her husband and this and that. You don't get a lot of um, Vic and Roger's like work shenanigans like you do in the book. The movie just kind of lightly touches upon it. Um, but with Brett, like you were saying, St. Bernards are genuinely family friendly. Brett knows that, and like when they're up in Maine, you kind of lose that from the movie with them not showing he's concerned for this dog that he knows isn't like a bad dog. He's genuinely concerned for this dog. And I think the movie did miss out including their segments. I agree with you on that one, Tyler.
One thing that I really enjoy about the book is Cujo's point of view. Like you really
Yeah,
you really
love
feel
that.
for Cujo. Cujo's a good boy.
Yes.
He's a good boy gone bad. It's not his fault. He's like a really sympathetic antagonist.
Yeah. You're true. Yeah.
There's never once where like I blame Cujo for anything.
But even when they're telling his perspective of why he's doing what he's doing when he's attacking people, it's still like, you're like, oh man, he's sick.
Because he has the thought in the book of like wanting to snap at Brett, but he knows like, Brett's my friend. I don't want to hurt him, so I'm going to go away. I'm going to remove myself. He has he's a dog, but he has the peace of mind to say like, this boy that I love, I want to attack. I need to get away from him.
Right. Yeah, it was all right. I thought it was a little weird at first. Like I was like, how can you get in the mind of a dog, Stephen King? Like you've written a lot of crazy shit, but I was like, you're in the mind of a dog now, okay? But you're right. You do it. The book, he does well to make sure it's not Cujo's fault. Like,
right, and it's not like Cujo's like thinking like a human. It's like giving you his feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, and then I thought to myself, no, Brett is my friend. It's like, you get his feeling without getting his thoughts, I guess.
Right. And there was never extended periods of time where you're inside Cujo's head where it like became too humanistic or like too unbelievable. He kept it short, brief, kind of just like really simple thought processes for like a semi-intelligent animal, which I think helped in his favor there. Did you guys like the movie over the book? Just out the gate? I'm going to go ahead and ask.
I think 95% of the time the book is going to be better.
Like on every book or just Stephen King specifically?
I think most book to movie conversions. I mean, I know this whole series is going to be about movie versus the book, but I think it's going to be rare where I take the movie side over the book. Sure. And I think it's just a formatting issue of like, the book's longer. They're able to fit in more stuff. You're able to get like thought processes of people. In like a movie, if someone thinks something, they have to say it out loud. It makes the dialogue chunky.
It makes it weird, yeah, for sure.
Kind of pulls you out of the story a little bit, where like a movie is written to give you all the information you need through dialogue and
like visuals.
Imagery, yeah.
I feel like a lot of times when a book is I feel like a lot of times when a movie does a good job, it's basically just a trailer for the book. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it gives you like kind of like the crunch down version of it, and they tell the story well. You're like, damn, that was really good. Oh shit, it's a book. And then you get to go experience like the full process of, the way that this is written with all the emotion and thought process.
Missing a lot of the ingredients that make the book really well. Yeah, the movie just kind of grazes over it.
Well, I think a lot of people complain about, well, they left this out of the movie, but I think maybe the way to make a successful adaptation is to steer into that and like completely make it your own. Like if you look at The Shining, it's a lot different than the book. The movie is. There's a lot of differences. There's a lot of similarities. But famously, Kubrick has said, like, this is my movie. That was your book. This is my movie. I was just going to say The Shining historically is one of the best horror movies of all time. I know you haven't seen it, but I'll get you to watch it eventually.
We'll make that an episode.
Yeah, I've thinking about it.
And I didn't like the Shining's like Kubrick's adaptation, right? Like he was like, no, I don't want my name on that.
Yeah, historically they didn't see eye to eye, I think.
I do like how, or I find it fascinating rather, that The Shining, as far as a movie, it tells a whole different story, but it's the same story. And then Cujo actually sticks on the plot. They don't really veer away very much.
Right.
It just becomes this condensed version.
It's condensed. There is a few differences. One thing, just to get back into the plot a little bit, I've heard Cujo referred to as the series of unfortunate events, like the original series of unfortunate events, because that's literally all the book is. It's like setting you up for the perfect storm of like things that have to go a certain way for her to be stuck here in this car. So it's like her husband has to be out of town. The car has to be on the fritz. It has to break down the second she reaches Joe Camber's house.
It's like
Joe Camber has to be
days
gone.
Of the year. Yeah, the Camber
it's one
has
of the
to be
hottest
gone.
days.
Yeah.
Cujo has rabies. So Charity's gone, Joe's gone, Vic's gone. Even like Donna cheating on Vic serves to distract Vic from thinking that Donna could possibly be at Joe Camber's. He could have got there faster had he not focused so hard on Steve Kemp and the affair and like, no, Kemp has her for sure. I'm sure of it. And it's like, I mean, also the mail. So she like, at one point she's like, we're just waiting for the mail. Once the mailman comes, we're saved. But since they went out of town, they put a hold on the mail and they live so far out of town that there's no through traffic. And it's like just a perfect storm of like shitty things happen to get you stuck in this car, being terrorized by this dog, It's almost to the point where it's unbelievable,
Yeah.
Another thing that's a part of the storm, Joe Camber having wheel bearings for an XK Jaguar V12.
You think that's unlikely?
Him having that stock in his barn.
Maybe. So? Oh yeah, because in the beginning, doesn't he show up and then just waits around for it to get replaced and then leaves?
Yeah, like you guys hang out for a couple hours, implying that he has the parts, and it's like, I don't know, a Jaguar in Maine.
Yeah.
So the first time they went out there was for Vic's car, right? And then they went out there for the Pinto. Okay.
Yeah, that was the original time.
Okay, that's right.
That's how they know about Joe Camber.
That's right. Yeah. But in the movie, Vic takes it somewhere else, and then like I think it's the mailman that's like, "Oh man, Joe Camber will do a better job for you, and he'll save you some money." That didn't happen in the book, though, did it? Or how did he hear about Joe Camber in the book? Do you remember? Is that what happened?
Someone told him. I can't remember if it was the mailman or not.
That's right. Okay. Because I was kind of like,
"Won't rob you blind."
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and then he like points at the guy, and he's like, "Him, huh." Call Joe Camber.
Yeah.
Gave him a thumbs down review there.
Yeah, I like hearing about how like people get their ideas for stories. So I thought it was interesting that Stephen King had a situation where he was having issues with his motorcycle, and when he takes it to get fixed, he pulls up to the place and the motorcycle dies on the spot. And then a Saint Bernard comes out and like barks at him and maybe lunges for his hand. And that's where he gets the idea of like getting stranded at the garage with a rabid Saint Bernard. I thought that was kind of interesting.
It's that on the nose?
Yeah. I mean, the Saint Bernard didn't have rabies, but he was a little more aggressive.
Down at the shop. Dogs there.
Probably like a kind of, I don't want to say white trash. That's the wrong word. But like a out of town country-ish mechanic, who's could be like a beer drinking piece of shit like Joe Camber in the movie, wouldn't like Stephen King probably was like pretty accurate in this stuff here. But okay, so it's weird that he remembers going there to get inspiration for the book, but he doesn't remember writing the book in which that incident was like based off of. It's kind of wild.
Hopefully he wasn't on drugs and alcohol while he was driving his motorcycle to the shop.
Well, isn't the motorcycle what he wrecked? That like he got addicted to like the stuff? Like it was the motorcycle wreck, right? That's
He
maybe
said
he
he was
wrote
walking and he got hit by the van.
shit. Okay. Oh
Mm.
fuck, that's even worse,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that. Okay, well, you know, everyone's got a vice, Steven. It's
Yeah.
okay. You know,
You know, he
you're
likes
over
long
that.
walks in the morning.
Yeah, you're over that hill now. No worries, man. You're good. I'm still gonna read your
Yeah.
stuff. Were there any changes you guys thought benefited the story? And I know there's not like a lot, but something like so, like to my mind, in the movie, Vic is driving down the road and sees Donna leaves Steve's house after telling him like, "Hey, we can't continue this." And he's like driving by and sees them, and then like pulls around, but they're like gone or whatever.
Right.
Whereas in the book, there was that lovely note that he
Then
got
yeah.
with the 7 crazy lines or whatever it was. And I thought, while I think the note would have been kind of wild to see in the movie, because I
Yeah.
was like, I definitely don't remember that part. I think, like you were talking, the imagery of seeing them, and then when he pulls around and they're gone, and then that's when he kind of gets the idea something's going on. I think that suited the movie better for its purposes. Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah, that didn't bother me at all.
No, not at all.
That was
I feel
fine.
like they made a lot of safe choices where, like, say they didn't show Joe Camber beating the wife or the kid or whatever, but they still
Nah,
kind
they
of
should
implied it.
they should have
Yeah.
I
done
feel
that.
like in terms of creating a movie, that made it a little bit more palatable for an audience. And in the same way, the note is so visceral and they just say the line over and over and over again, and it makes it that much more heavy of like, you motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
They
Yeah.
didn't show as much of Vic's advertising stuff in the movie, and I think maybe that was a good choice. I didn't really care too much. I understand why that story was in the book. I didn't love it though. I didn't love the advertising stuff.
It's been like 20 something years since I've seen this movie. And while reading the book, I was like, I don't remember a lot of this in the movie. And then when I watched the movie, I was like, oh, that's because it's not there. Like, they really kind of keep it a tight ship to just Donna and like her struggles. And then like Vic and Tad are just kind of like side characters in her story, really. Like, especially Vic. Tad obviously gets to be in the car, all fucked up with Cujo and shit. But Vic is a side character. So, in the movie.
Even like when it's time for him to come home and find Donna, in the book, he's still worried about the Sharp account. In the movie, he's like, fuck the Sharp account. This is my family. Got to get home for my family. It's like, well, how are you going to feed your family without the Sharp account,
I actually didn't like how in the movie he was like, Roger, I got to do this, man, whatever you don't understand. Whereas in the book, he left giving Roger the confidence to do this, like, hey, you know what we talked about, like, you can do this, you got this, I got to go handle some stuff. And I didn't like how the movie, he was just like, I got to go.
And Roger was down with it too.
Yeah.
Right. And even just staying with the advertising stuff, I didn't really like the ad campaign to begin with. Like it didn't seem that convincing. Nothing wrong here. It's like,
what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong here.
Yeah, but think about like Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and they're great, and like Tricks Are for Kids. Like all these things are like infinitely memorable.
Was the Lone Star Outlaw or something like that? The campaign that ran before they came up with the professor.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember that one too much.
I like that one.
The Sharps professor, like having like a character, like over all their brand, like their whole brand of cereal or whatever, no matter with a flavor or different selection, the Sharps, like a central figure, the Sharps professor is kind of a cool idea. Think like KFC, think Ronald McDonald, where they but they just have a central person as opposed to like every cereal you were talking about has its own character, its own little saying that makes you want the cereal. They just had like one professor that was like, well, nothing wrong here, whatever.
That goes to say like that's like, who are you advertising to? Like most cereals advertised to the kids, and then it seemed like the Sharps professor was advertising to the parents.
Right.
I guess.
I think they talked about that in the book as well.
The cereal. So I think I got a little confused in the book. The cereal that went south, like the Red Zingers or whatever.
Red Raspberry Zingers, yeah.
Red Raspberry Zingers. That was still Sharp cereal. What was it? Like just one bad batch? Was it like a new product? Or just
it was a bad batch of dye, I believe.
That's what
like
it was.
Food
Okay.
Dye.
Oh, another thing that I noticed was, did it make them sick, or were the people, because the one girl had the flu when she was eating the cereal, right? Didn't they emphasize that in the book?
The way I understood it was they were sick independently of the cereal, but when they vomited or had diarrhea or whatever,
Oh.
it was like looked like blood. So they were already sick, and it made them think they were internally bleeding.
Okay.
So I think it was a perfect storm of like the bad dye plus the people getting sick, a rush into the hospital. And I don't see how any of that was the advertising company's fault. Like, I didn't even understand why their jobs were at risk at all.
Right. We told them it was safe. So
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
trusted the Sharps professor and he lied to them.
It's like,
that's
well,
another thing
I
that I was
invented
thinking
the
about as a
I invented the
time
Sharps
capsule
professor.
moment.
I didn't put the bad food dye in there, you know?
Yeah, and what they were just left to clean up, like they were forced to just or needed to make a new campaign to like apologize to the public for something like you said that really wasn't their fault. Wouldn't you be mad at like their manufacturer or distributor, like the people making the stuff? Like, and you can't get mad if someone dies in a car crash from a Ford car, you can't get mad at the people that made the commercial. You're like,
Right.
that's not their
Right.
problem.
Exactly. But I mean, it's fine. I kind of get what they were saying is like to appease the shareholders, they need to make changes to the company to make it look like they're on the
Doing something about
rebound. I could kind of understand that. I didn't like how towards the end of the book, it was just fine. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. They didn't have to go on the trip really at all. They weren't going to get fired anyway.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, like, they couldn't give them a call and be like, well, let's just, like, have a 4-hour phone conversation instead of saving you guys, like, a trip out, like, a 10-day trip out to, like, Maine. And I think they were going to a few different places, like New York, and had to meet with,
Boston.
the owner of the company and then, like, his kid, who they said already kind of didn't like them. Like, they were more in, like, the old man's pockets as opposed to the kid, You're right. I kind of thought he wrapped that up a little fast for me. A little too, like,
There was a
that's,
little bit, yeah. There's a
yeah,
little bit no stakes on Vic's end.
you're right. Absolutely. I
I
agree.
would have been more okay if Roger's like, I went in, I gave him the presentation and I nailed it and we kept the job and we got some runway to fix this before, we lose our jobs and can't feed our families anymore. That would have been okay. I would have been okay with that.
Yeah, that would have been way better. I'll say out the gate. Now, when you read books, based off the little descriptions you kind of get of these characters, you kind of form an image in your head, right? Or at least I do. Everyone kind of fit the bill, whatever. The one person that when I saw him in the movie, I was like, what? I was like, that's not what I pictured at all. Steve Kemp.
Yep,
Yes.
100%. The stud of the town.
Yeah, I was like, well, this
Yeah,
guy?
right.
What? Yeah, no way. Like, he's not what I pictured. My image in my head, one, didn't have like a mustache. Like, I pictured just some dude that could be both like suave and charming, but also like kind of greasy and like
Kind of a
there's
bad boy.
yeah, like a bad boy dark side to him. So when I saw him in the movie, I was like, okay, like,
Yeah. He's
plus
not a big character. I'll allow it, but yeah.
and we don't see the dark side of him the book represents, because like even when he trashes the place, they just like he breaks something, right, and then it just cuts away to like the house is all messed up and he's already gone. He didn't leave that surprise upstairs, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so like you were kind of like at the end of the movie, I was like, well, he didn't seem like that bad of a guy. Like, I mean, yeah, he grabbed Donna, put some hands on her or like whatever, and that's not, I don't endorse that.
Sometimes you
This
got it.
guy, book Steve was way worse than movie Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also like doing coke. And was there something in a pill bottle or was that just weed?
I think they found pills, pot, coke, and maybe some alcohol in his van when they arrested him, which is why they were able to detain him.
Right.
And
Right.
that's how he admitted to the vandalism or whatever.
So, his mistress just dumped him. He's got a shitload of drugs.
He's just coping, man.
I mean, you follow the trail. It adds up.
All those woodworking skills, and he's got to cope with losing his side piece, or I guess his main piece. He was the side piece.
Oh yeah, that's true. Speaking of the cast, I kind of looked into them a little bit. When it comes to these older movies, I'm not as well versed on all the actors.
For sure.
It seemed like the only two that had really made anything of themselves was Dee Wallace and Ed Lauder.
Not another teen movie.
I was stole it. I
Wow.
was gonna say that I have it in my notes here. He has 200 plus credits on IMDb, and one of them is Not Another Teen Movie, which is like
It's awesome.
instantly a legend if you're in Not Another Teen Movie.
Yeah, he's the football coach that's like, God damn it, let's hit the showers, damn it. Come on,
Yeah, yeah.
Jake, damn it. Marty, catch the ball in the outfield, damn it.
And
Yeah, I
then
recognize
you
him
got
instantly, dude.
right. Then you got D Wallace, who was Donna, and she's in a lot of horror movies, a lot of stuff. E.T., which you just covered.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
she's a mom in E.T. E.T. was, I think, like 3 or 4 years before this movie. And yeah, I don't know, she was kind of just like a doting mom in E.T. as well. You know, this one, she was like a doting mom, wife in a horror movie.
I don't know that she was doting. Okay, hot take. I
Like,
think she's
doting
the
in this movie?
least. Yeah. I kind of think she's one of the least sympathetic characters in the whole book. The
I
whole
did
movie.
word that wrong. I guess I didn't mean doting. I just meant like she's playing housewife, like she's playing mother figure. She didn't have a job that, I don't think, right? That's what I meant. I didn't mean like doting.
Oh, I get you. I get what you're saying.
She ain't doting over Vic, she's doting over Steve, so.
Right. And then we got director Louis Teague. He hasn't done that much either. I mean, he's done some stuff, but nothing I really could recognize. Cat's Eye, which was another Stephen King, right?
That is Stephen King, I believe, yeah.
And then the other stuff I didn't really recognize that much.
What is on the other stuff? Just like just a few options if you have it pulled up.
I'd have to pull it up. It's not in my notes.
Yeah, he wasn't a director I recognized. I did look him up when I was watching the movie, and I thought I recognized maybe 1 or 2 movies he had done, but yeah, this wasn't a dude who did this movie and then has other awesome like staples that everyone loves or anything like that.
Yeah. We'll start at Cujo and go more recent. So it was like Cujo, Cat's Eye, The Jewel of the Nile.
That's what it was. That's what
Collision Course, Shannon's Deal, Navy SEALs, Wedlock, Dukes of Hazzard Reunion, Justice League of America.
Oh, I did see that on his credits. Like this god awful looking. Like, yeah, it's just more like a parody of anything. So this guy really, Cujo, I think to me might be his biggest go. And did this movie do well? Do we know? Like, how did this movie do when it came out?
Okay, well, I don't know how it did when it came out. On Rotten Tomatoes right now, critics, it's got a 60%, and then audience has a 46%, 3.2 stars. Not really that great. What'd you guys think of the movie?
Justin, you go first, man.
I love it. I think it's a classic. I want to say it was one of the first like TV movies where like my dad was watching it at like noon, and I just kind of like got glimpses, and I was like, oh my God, this is nuts. And then I watched it as a teenager, and I was like, damn, this is nuts. And as time goes on, eventually read the book, and I've just always been impressed. I think it's a classic movie.
I've liked the movie. Like I said, I used to watch it. We had I think it was the VHS. I saw it several times as a kid. Definitely over like 20 years ago. So I didn't remember much of anything other than girl, kid, dog, car, right? It was cool. While I like it, I'm not going to say it's a great movie by like standards, you know? It's okay. Like I said, the book was better just because you get so much more out of it, and but it's watchable, you know? Like if you're a Stephen King fan, yeah, absolutely. Read the book, put the movie in, compare them if you want. It's definitely, I think, worth a watch for King lovers. So I'll give it that.
I'm gonna have to agree with you, Chris. I think it's good. It's good because of the book. You know, like the book is so good that it's good in just being the same thing. As a standalone movie, I don't know how much I would have liked it. I think if I would have, I wish I could have watched it first. That's actually like a hack, I think, if you're gonna do a book and a movie, is to watch the movie first. It's going to spoil some stuff, but it's going to be different enough that I don't think it's really going to matter in the long run. And I feel like you'll like the movie more if you watch it first. Because the whole time, you know, you read a book and then you watch a movie and you can't help but like nitpick it to death the whole time you're watching it.
Yep.
And that kind of removes you from the immersion, I think.
I feel like it also helped rebuild the landscape as well. Like, whenever I went into Cujo the first time that I would listen to the audiobook, I already had Don in my head. I already had Tad in my head. You know, I've never been to Maine, but I have, instead of just words to tell me what it's like, I have a little bit of landscape in my brain.
Sure. If you read Stephen King, you have a lot. I mean, I didn't realize all the scary shit in the world took place in Maine, but
the Conjuring movie we just did probably took place in Maine.
Maine
for
is
all we
just like
know,
the devil's fucking butthole,
Yeah.
dude. It's just like
Sounds like-
everything's scary.
Now, Castle Rock is that a real place in Maine? Is that
No.
Stephen King's like make believe world
Castle
where he
Rock-
puts all scary shit? Like, 'cause I know there's a
Rock
Derry,
and
right?
Derry. No, Derry's
there's-
not real.
Oh, Derry's not real. So maybe
I don't
Castle
think
Rock's
Derry
real?
or Castle Rock are real.
Oh shit. Okay. Man, we're Midwestern guys, so
Yeah,
Northeastern
Derry,
United
Maine is
States.
not real, and I'll look up Castle
Okay.
Rock.
Well, thank God for that. So I wouldn't be driving through there. I know how that ends.
Imagine how many people would live there.
Ooh.
They'd just be like, "Ooh, we live in Castle Rock," and they just get sucked into some shit.
Well, actually, so I'll play off something you said earlier. One of you guys said earlier, like even starting off the book, you get that old like curmudgeon in the town. I think her name was Evelyn Chalmers or something like that.
Auntie
That was
Abby.
a nasty pull, dude.
Right.
Nice.
She sets up the whole story by telling, I think it's the post office guy, like, we're in for like a super hot summer. It's going to be crazy. And, I see it coming, whatever. Like, so it's already setting you up like, okay, so the next week or two in this book is going to be crazy fucking hot. And then, whereas the movie, it's like she wasn't even in the movie at all. I don't think. You just kind of had to go off like, hey, they're in the car and they're sweating and you see the sun high in the sky and like, they're reacting. But like, I thought the setup in the book was really good. Like you got the mailman that isn't going to play a part later. You got that old lady setting up this thing. I thought it was really great. And I thought the movie, why could you not have 5 minutes of her setting that up? Like
One thing I wondered about her, if you've read a lot of Stephen King stuff, you know that The Shining isn't just in the book The Shining. It spans through a lot of different books, and I wondered if maybe she had a touch of The Shining. King says all mothers have a touch of The Shining, and then like kids are more apt to it. So I wondered if Tad maybe had a bit of it too with the
closet.
With
Because Donna had a moment with the closet as well. So I feel like that was alluding a little bit, but I'm not sure if it's enough to give it full credit as this is evidence of shine here.
Well, so did Vic. Vic hears Tad's voice coming out of the closet towards the
But
end.
yeah.
I did want to talk about the closet because one thing I absolutely hate. I love a supernatural story and I love a realistic story. Don't put them together. It shouldn't be a 99% realistic thing and then have just a smidge of like supernatural in it. It didn't make any sense. Like alluding to the thing in the closet and talking about Frank Dodd from the Dead Zone and
okay.
Is that what he's from? I was so
Yeah.
lost on the Frank Dodd story.
Yeah, because the Dead Zone takes place in Castle Rock as well.
Oh shit. Okay. I
And
was going to
so
ask you guys
does-
about that.
Maybe Needful Things, The Body, which is Stand By Me,
Stand
the
By Me,
movie.
right.
I think they all take place in Castle Rock as well. I'm not 100% sure about Needful Things, but I think so.
Well, before we get too far into Frank Dodd, sticking with the closet, I didn't. That was one part of the book where I was like, why? Like you said, you have this such a realistic, grounded story that could actually happen, and then the closet thing was like pseudo metaphorical for like foreshadowing, kind of what's gonna happen. I was like, what? And then, like you said, Vic is like kind of hearing his kid. Like the monster words thing, I think was cool, right? Every kid gets there's something in the closet or something under the bed. There's a shadow behind the chair, whatever, right? And the parents have to say shit to soothe this kid's whatever. But like the closet thing was weird. Like you could have had a great story without that and still had the same result and the same feeling at the end of that book, especially with the endings between the book and the movie. The closet thing was weird.
Agreed.
But jumping onto Frank Dodd, so that
Well, before we get off the closet, I think
Okay.
you're right. I think you're like right on when like Tad should have saw something in the closet. That makes sense. Tad's scared of the closet. Vic writes the monster words. It's like Tad thinks monsters are real. They're not real. Surprise, monsters are real. And it's in the form of a rabid dog trying to murder you and your mom. That makes sense. But then for other people to confirm that there's stuff going on with the closet is like, I think that should have been omitted.
I have kind of a theory about that.
let's hear it.
And I wonder if it seems like a lot of Shining is like things that you should have done or like kind of a gut feeling or an instinct that you could have had. And I feel like it alludes to how in life we're kind of always moving and making choices and doing all this stuff. And you kind of thought that you were going to do that one thing, but then you did something else and it led to a completely different conclusion. As well as like, say another part of them not getting rescued soon enough is when the sheriff pulls up and he doesn't immediately call it in because he wants to go check the car first. And it's like, yeah, man, there's protocol for a reason.
Right.
That was like his last thought too. I think in the book was like, as he's like
I should have
getting
called
the,
this
you know,
in.
he's like, "Oh, there's protocol for a reason." I think
Oh
Yeah.
he's
my God.
maybe thinks that
Yeah.
quote, and I was like, "Come on, man, dude."
The deja vu whenever he's like, and then he ran to the car and he had trouble opening the door, but he did it and he got on the radio and it all happened in his mind. And then he goes back to like holding his guts into his body. It's like, wow.
That yeah, that is scary, for sure. You know, like I said, none of us are super big guys. You know, I think you two obviously are taller than me. Like that's scary, man. Like, and the dog is like ramming itself into the car, denting it so much the door can't open. Dude, holy
Mhm.
shit! Like, you know, I got 3 dogs here, and my biggest one would get eaten by Cujo. You know, Cujo would eat the 3 of my dogs, no sweat, and before he ate me and my kids. So,
Yeah. I think that's one thing the movie did pretty good on was the dog. Like the dog was pretty terrifying.
dude, he looked fucked up, man. Like,
Yeah. The eye boogers were so aggressive too.
yeah, like
Is
he's got.
that how dogs look when they have rabies, or was that like a more FX kind of thing?
Well, I know the foam was egg whites and sugar,
Because
and
the
they
dog
had
kept eating it
issues.
up, right?
Yeah, they
Sweet
had
treat for a
issues
dog.
during filming where the dogs would just eat all the foam off, and they'd have to keep reapplying it.
It seemed like in the movie there was less foam and just he was just matted in like all sorts of other like
Mhm.
like he had like pools of like weirdo green shit kind
Did
of
he
like
have the
running down
Nickelodeon?
like yeah
Yeah.
like the valleys of his eyes and he was like matted in like blood and I get you just like ripped open like a few people but like yeah and I
Yeah,
get like
blood.
bloody but like your whole coat is like matted with blood and just like
Well,
ickiness.
he just
It's a,
murdered 2 adult males.
yeah, it's an unappealing
I mean, I get why
dog.
he's covered.
And they
Yeah,
also weren't very healthy either. I can't imagine that blood was, of the
Oh, yeah.
palatable variety.
true. Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
I think there was something like 11 dogs that they used. Plus, there was a guy in a dog costume and probably some
Probably for like
animatronics,
close
some
I want to
ups.
know what
puppetry.
scenes that is. The guys in
Yeah.
the costumes.
I've seen a picture of a dude in a St. Bernard costume with the head off. It's a pretty cool
Imagine
picture.
the guy getting
They're
cast. And
hilarious.
he's like, "Cool, who am I playing?" And the guy's like, "All right, we're gonna put you in a Saint Bernard suit, and you're gonna be the close up shots of this dog." And like,
Yeah.
cool, sounds fun.
Yeah. Dee Wallace, I watched an interview, a couple clips of her talking about the dogs, and she's like, you can't overwork a dog, but you can sure overwork a person. They had to treat me for 2 weeks for exhaustion after this movie.
Well, see, okay, like, and yeah, I guess that's a fair point. But I thought I read that filming the movie, it was actually like cold, and they had to have heaters in the cars. So
She
like,
said it was cold, yeah.
it's not like you were
No way.
actually like sweating your ass off. You know, like they weren't filming in a real 100-degree heat in a car. You know, like
So wait, all the scenes of them being sweaty, they're cold and wet.
Mhm.
that's what it seemed like in her interview.
Right.
But I guess when you're playing someone just on like the verge of like mentally snapping because of the situation you're in, I guess that'd be pretty exhausting. I mean, filming probably 12-hour days, 6 days a week or something. I don't know. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
an actor, so not knocking what she's saying, but it's like it's kind of weird that you know.
She said something
Ironic.
like, if I never see another Pinto for as long as I live, I'll be happy, She spent so much time in that car. Because half the
That was,
movie is just her in the car.
that was another thing too about the book. It's literally like the halfway point of the book before you're left like the main focus of what everyone knows about it like happens. And even in the movie, it was like almost exactly the halfway point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird that those two lined up, even though we talked about the movie leaving out like a lot of stuff that I think made the book better. So it's kind of weird how they like lined up or whatever. I don't know. Kind of a cool coincidence, I guess.
So the biggest difference, obviously, is the ending.
The ending. Oof.
Are we here now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here now.
The ending was the most obvious difference, and to me, a huge letdown with the movie.
See, now I feel like for a movie, you know, it concludes well. But then for the book, it takes you there. You get to go all the way.
It was tough, man, for sure.
Especially the way the end scene is, where they do the freeze frame on the stairs and they're like, ah, we did it. You know,
Yeah, I
and it's
didn't
like,
like
dude,
that.
that's so Hollywood.
It's Hollywood, but I think in a negative way. So for those who don't know, the ending of the book,
Ah,
Donna gets out of the car finally. She's been the whole part with her in the car has been about like her decision or indecision rather on how to best save her son. Do I risk getting out and trying the door of the house to see if I can get in and call for help? If I make it in the house, we're saved. If I don't make it in the house, I die. My son is stranded here alone.
and probably dies.
So she has to, do I wait for help? Do I get out and act? And the whole half of the book is just that, her weighing that decision. And then she finally gets out, gets a baseball bat she's been eyeing in the yard for a while, and Cujo charges, and she beats the crap out of Cujo till he's dead. And then at that point, Vic shows up, and, you know, she's crazy. She's been in the car for days. She's been without food. She's been sweating and crying and trying to deal with Tad. Tad's been having seizures. It's been just this like traumatic ordeal. And finally, you know, she could breathe a sigh of relief. Like, I'm free. Everything's going well. And Vic says, Donna, how long has Tad been dead? And it's like a gut punch.
Yeah, that was tough.
The first time you read it, you're like, yeah, right. Here comes
No,
the
'cause the movie,
CPR.
they're going to do the end.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're just waiting for that happy ending and it just never comes. And then for me, I did the audiobook. So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. And then like, thank you. This has been Audible. And it's like, what? He's dead? The kid's dead?
Yeah, that thank you for listening to Audible really drops you off the end of a cliff.
Yeah. You're like, no, the kid doesn't die. He dies. And it's left me thinking about the book for years. I think about this book. I annoy people at work about this book all the time and about the ending and, you know, how tragic it is and you just don't expect it. And I think it's one of King's better endings. And then with the movie
sure.
just pulls punches and it's like.
So, okay. So like Justin said, the book takes you there, right? When you read that and then like you said, you're done with the book and the kid is dead and you're like, what the fuck? The movie, I think, played it safe by having the kid live. And there is like a moment of like, oh no, maybe he's dead. And then they, of course, they save him or whatever. But like, it's very King to like kill kids. Like, think about it. You know what I mean? Like, that thing brutally murders several kids. Like, at one point, there was like a toddler, I think, at one point in the book that just got super fucked up by Pennywise. So, like, while it wasn't weird that King killed the kid, it was like there's only one kid in this whole damn story. It isn't like you have a plethora of kids, you know, that could live outside of Tad. It's just Tad, and we're all dads, you know. So
Yeah.
like that was a tough, man. That was a tough like pill to swallow, and I think the movie played it safe on that part. I'm not saying no one wants to see a kid die, you know, but like the movie played it safe by
We all wanted to see the kid die.
we all wanted him to meet his magic.
No,
I
as
wanted
a dad,
100% accuracy, you know.
as a dad, the ending of Cujo was brutal, and Pet Cemetery as well. If you haven't read that,
I haven't.
it's definitely worth it. And it's hard. It's a tough read as a parent. Like, I did it this year, or it might have been last year. I did the audiobook, and my kids were almost exactly the ages of the kids in the book, and it's a little bit of a tough read.
Even the movie, the scene I think we're talking about from Pet Cemetery, like even the movie, like you're like, oh my God, that
I still think about it every time I see the tanker trucks down the street from my house. They got a route they run through there, and I'm like, that Marenko truck's always coming through here.
right.
Going a little too fast.
Yeah. I watched, like I said, I watched some interview stuff with Dee Wallace, and she said something about the interview. She said, in the book, the dog is possessed by a demon and the kid dies, which, wrong, Dee, read the book. It's not a demon. See, that's where the closet stuff gets confusing for people, I guess. But
well, I mean, how far do you want to go? Could rabies potentially be a demon?
Okay, whatever.
That's medical.
So she said, I said, guys, the kid can't die. Come on. It's the 1980s. We can't put everyone through that. And the producer agreed. And then she said she got a call from Stephen King, and he said, thank God you didn't kill the kid in the end. He said it's the most hate mail he's ever got for any ending was for, he got death threats and stuff for the ending of Cujo.
Oh, I can see that. I
But
can
it's
see
like,
a lot of just kind of down the middle people reading it and being like, "Hey, what the fuck? What did you just do to me?
yeah.
I got to think about this."
You took me
And he
on
takes
almost.
you all the way through it too. At the
Yeah.
moment of, a little bit after, a couple days
Mhm.
after, a couple months out.
Yeah. For me, just the movie ending, I don't know. I think the kid needed to die. Maybe I'm alone in that, but I
Yeah,
didn't like it. When I read it, it crushed me. And then when
for
I saw
sure.
the movie, I was like, come on,
It
crush
would've
me
made
again.
they Hollywooded the movie ending for sure, right? Like Justin said, like it's like picture perfect, like we made it. And I tend to, I don't like a morbid story. Obviously, no one wants to see a kid die, like I said, but like I don't like Hollywood happy endings on every freaking film. And if you've done so good to like try and keep your movie as much like the book as possible, why wait till the end? Like why cater to the masses at the end and let the kid live? Like it weighs heavily on Donna, it weighs heavily on Vic when Tad dies. Like it's just so much more character development, I think, for them with Tad dying in the book. And in the movie, it's just like, oh, hey, this is something we can like laugh about in 10 years. Ha 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 ha. Like,
Remember that wacky weekend we spent in the
yeah,
car?
right. And Tad will be like, even in 10 years from then, he'll be like, it won't be something he really remembers because he's what, five?
Come on,
Five
dude.
or
He'll be
something,
scared of dogs for the rest of his life. I think
Well,
he's
yeah,
4.
like that. But like as he gets older, he'll be like, well, because most of the time he's sleeping through in the car. He's sleeping in the car. Then he goes like in shock and like catatonic, and she's I don't know, like the ending of the movie
That's
just
true.
didn't
He
go
probably would be blank on a lot of that in the
for
future.
sure.
So I did the audiobook. Chris, you said you read it, right?
I did, yeah.
So you missed out on the narrator of the audiobook
No,
doing Tad.
no. I actually was it a female?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually at work one day I got the audiobook, maybe 2 hours of it. So
Dude,
and so I did get a little bit of that, and I was like, I don't know that I could have done the whole book with this chick, man.
she does fine, but she does too good of an impression of a whiny 4-year-old dying in the back of a car.
I agree. Yeah.
It's like
I
nails
want
on a
daddy. I
chalkboard.
want daddy.
Mommy, I want to go
Right.
home. And she's having this mental breakdown, and the kid's just whining, and she's basically just like, let me think, It's like, I don't know. To me, that was a little hard to listen to.
Yeah.
The rest of the book was fine.
The kid in the movie, like in the car stuff, man, like I don't know how you get a kid to like act like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause he sold it, dude. Like he was
Heavy
screaming
tears.
and crying. How do
Yeah.
you get a kid to do that? But like pretend you almost had to like get him going and riled up and fuck him up and then like just start recording and hope you get it. Because I was like, oh my God, dude, he is like as a parent, you feel that like because when your kid's doing that, you're trying to do everything you can to settle them and just like comfort them. And I felt that with that kid in the movie, right? Like
Mhm.
I was like, man, he did it. And so in a way, I'm glad I didn't see that kid die, but I maintained my stance on the ending. Would have been better if he did. But the kid was great. The kid was a great actor, man. He sold it for me.
Yeah. And I think he's only done like one other movie. He was one of the ones that I looked up, and I was like, oh damn.
Decided
Yeah.
to focus on others.
Hey,
Maybe that movie probably fucking traumatized him. So
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
I'm never acting again.
I think
the
it's
one
so
movie I
gone.
did, I had to fucking cry all the time, and they kept scaring me with this dog, and like,
Can you
the
imagine
one
how
who
bad
kept
his head hurt all
shaking
day
me
after that?
awake.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I get maybe he was like, fuck this shit, fuck Hollywood.
So I discovered in my research for this that there is a sequel to Cujo. I was kind of surprised to hear.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Yeah.
Hit me.
So I think 2023, 2024, I think it was 2023, Stephen King released a short story collection called You Like It Darker.
Was that recent? Like the
Yeah.
Cujo sequel you're talking? Oh man, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
And the story takes place in 2020, and it's all about Vic Trenton. So it's been like 40 years since his son died. One thing so I'll say I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. My biggest gripe was that it takes place during 2020, so there was a lot of COVID talk.
Oh man, yeah.
Like even mentioning Fauci by name, like, oh, Dr. Fauci on the news said another 100,000 is going to die this weekend, and it's like COVID. Oh, because of COVID, the officer wore his mask and took it down to take a sip of his drink and then put his mask back up, and it's like,
Yeah,
it was just very, very COVID heavy. And I realized that like COVID happened and people are going to write books about it. And during that time, it's like, I'm just so sick of it. It was so many years of just like nothing but COVID on the news and people talking about it. It's like, I'm tired. I wouldn't want to read a book about 9/11 either. It's like,
there was like TV shows that incorporated COVID into their stories too, like where they were wearing masks in TV shows, like in their universe and stuff like that. So it was a weird, that would have deterred me far. But like, so what happened in this?
Okay, so once you get past that, Vic is living in the Florida Keys with an acquaintance. He's using his house or something.
Is there no Donna?
No. Okay, so
not the Donna.
It explains the backstory. So him and Donna lasted a while, but he says, I never blamed her for what happened to Tad. She took on a rabid German, or I keep wanting to say German Shepherd, took on a rabid dog to save Tad, and he ended up dying, and I never blamed her for it, but said something about blaming her for cheating on him, and then eventually they just couldn't see eye to eye, so they divorced. Later in life, they reconnected, got remarried, and then she ended up dying of cancer, so she's dead. Tad's dead.
Fuck.
Yeah, she's not even in the book. She's not in the sequel at all.
I thought you were going to say there was another dog.
She gets trapped.
He bought a family Saint Bernard to make up for that.
Yeah. They named it Tad. Went rabid. It didn't go rabid. It was possessed by the ghost of Frank Dodd.
Yeah, Frank Dodd.
Then he's in the Florida Keys. He meets this lady who pushes around a stroller everywhere, and you come to find out that her twin boys were killed by rattlesnakes about the same time that Tad was. And then for years, she's just been pushing around this stroller, pretending that her twin boys are still alive. Like she sets little shorts and a shirt on the stroller, and she talks to the boys like, come on, boys, we're going for a walk, or, oh, you guys need to behave, that kind of stuff. And so he kind of befriends her. He only meets her a couple times, but he's nice to her, and he like acknowledges the boys, and he plays along with her delusion because, he knows what it's like to lose a kid. So he sympathizes with this lady. She dies. She turns up dead, and she's written a will that leaves everything to Vic. So obviously that's suspicious to the cops. And in the will, she leaves everything, but also she kind of like leaves the boys to him as well. She mentions at one point, like, I know they're not there, but sometimes they are. And so then the stroller shows up at his house after she dies, and he brings it back, and then the next night it shows up again. And he can like hear the squeaky wheel on the stroller. It ends up like being almost a Telltale Heart kind of situation, if you're familiar.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He even mentions like, am I in my own story, the Telltale Stroller, or something like that. He makes some kind of comment about hearing the wheel, whatever. So then, he kind of realizes that he has inherited the boys along with the estate and finds a way to get rid of them. It was like a 4-hour audiobook. So like a third of the length of Cujo. I just didn't like it. I don't know. The COVID stuff started me off on a bad foot, and then like it was a supernatural like haunting story as a sequel to a real. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the supernatural in a non-supernatural story. You know what I mean?
That
it just seemed like a sequel. It's a sequel that didn't need to be made.
For sure.
It also had.
What was the conclusion?
Callbacks
him
to
absolving the boys.
He took them. So this area that they're at, there used to be a bunch of rattlesnakes. Then after the boys got bit, the town came and like got rid of all the snakes. So then he like pushes the stroller down to the beach, and then the snakes come and something. I don't know.
He becomes a snake.
No, I don't know. The boys move on or something. I don't know. I didn't really understand it. I wasn't like. I'll be honest, at that point I was like just ready for it to be over, so I was kind of just listening to it just to have it completed.
Right.
So I don't remember it that well. It didn't tickle my fancy. I thought it didn't need to be made. There was also like callbacks to another Stephen King book that I haven't read, Duma Key.
Okay. I know of it. I don't know the story though.
Now, I saw someone else mention something funny that I think would have made a better sequel. I think if they would have buried Cujo at the Micmac burial ground from Pet Cemetery,
Ooh,
there's
man.
now you got something, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
That's fire. That
Which
could still be done. Somebody could
which
do that.
that is more supernatural stuff, but I actually looked it up because I couldn't remember if Pet Cemetery was Castle Rock or not. It's not. It's Ludlow, Maine.
Maine ain't
I was
that
like,
damn big. Like they could
yeah.
easily take it to Ludlow and
No,
like,
Maine's
hey,
pretty big.
there's this animal cemetery over here.
Yeah.
Well, like in the book, didn't they cut off Cujo's head to like take it down for like testing and shit? Like I thought that was
That's
wild. Like why would it not just
no,
take
that's
the
the
head?
only way. That's the only way you can test for rabies.
Yeah, take just the head.
Yeah, you got to take the head off, check the spinal
And
cord.
you
I
got to
think.
make sure it doesn't come back too. I mean, that's
Yeah.
rules.
Remove the head and destroy the brain.
Weird. I thought that was just like Stephen King, like, hey, I
Nope.
don't really know what happened, so I'm just gonna like make up some shit. They're gonna cut his head off, and I was like, that's
No, that's how you test for rabies.
okay. Well, shit. All right. What the fuck do I know? You know.
Yeah, now you know.
Now I know.
So yeah, I don't think the sequel. Don't read it. Delete. Pretend
Yeah,
it didn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like
I
it's worth it.
appreciate you doing it, so I don't have to.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real. You took the fall on that one, man. I appreciate that.
Had it been a full book, I probably wouldn't have went through it. When I saw it was a short story, I was like, yeah, no big deal. Did you guys see anything about so there's two different things I want to ask about. In 2015, there was an announcement that they were going to develop an adaptation called CUJO, C.U.J.O. Which stands for Canine Unit Joint Operations.
That fell
And
through though,
it
right?
was
Like
yeah,
didn't
it fell
happen.
through. It
I,
was going to be like I guess a robot dog.
What the fuck?
no, I gotta say,
Luckily,
I'm against the robot dogs as authority figures. Fuck all that shit.
yeah.
That's like so much worse than Cujo. Imagine a dog that doesn't feel pain and is made out of metal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but why
sure.
why do you need Cujo's name to make that?
That is weird.
It's gonna fucking get you, dude.
I'm glad it never came to anything.
Yeah, I'll go over 100%. Yeah, that sounds like a terrible
Now,
sci-fi movie.
yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up. I don't
Oh, that
think
was a movie?
it was going to be, it said adaptation. I don't know if it was going to be a show or a movie.
For some reason, I got lost. I thought you were talking about like an actual military operation.
No, Operation Cujo. That'd be hilarious. Maybe.
You were like, yeah, they set it up and then it fell through. And it's like, oh, thank fucking God.
No. Now, maybe we were a little bit early with this review because apparently in March, Netflix announced they were developing a remake called, well, just Cujo. But I heard Darren Aronofsky was revealed to be in talks to direct it.
Man, you know he's gonna like make it more psychological. Like we're gonna get a lot of that internal power, that struggle Donna was having and
Right.
like all that stuff. He's gonna make it a trip for sure. And I'm not a big Aronofsky fan, but like him doing a Stephen King thing, and it's sure, like why not, man? Then you got
I'm,
my ticket already.
I'm not the biggest fan, but I did like Requiem for a Dream.
Sure.
I love them all.
So
It seems like the dude
I think
has
that's going to be a theme for me is that anything that I like, I'm like, this is looking great. You guys did such a good job.
one of the images I saw had it being a pit bull though, and that would make me mad. Because where pit bulls are more aggressive, one of the things that was so scary was just how big Saint Bernards are.
yeah.
Right.
Well, and I feel like America like goes through phases of like what dog is like considered dangerous and stuff. Like at one point it's Rottweilers, everyone was like afraid of Rottweilers. At one point it was what did you just say? Pit bulls, you know what I mean? Like and those
I think
still
it,
kind of have like a bad like tart on their name, like and I think just big dogs in general, people are like, oh man, you better be careful of them, Great Danes and shit like that. So like America kind of goes through these phases, but
Sorry. That was a huge factor of the book is that the St. Bernard's genuinely such a friendly dog,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden it is the opposite. If they
Yeah, you
made it a
wouldn't
pit bull and there's like kind of this bubbling fear of pit bulls that kind of roams around, you just kind of like, you're overplaying the crowd a little bit.
you lose the sympathy you would otherwise have for Cujo.
Oh, like if it was like a dog breed that people associate already with like meanness, like if it was a pit bull that was rabid, yeah, for sure,
Right.
yeah, yeah. Then you would be like, "Fucking kill that thing, Donna! Damn, like it's a beast." But yeah,
Yeah,
you feel
there's
it for Cujo being a family friendly dog, 100%.
exactly. And if you look at the stats, like pit bulls actually do most of the violence when it comes to the dogs.
Sure.
Like people don't want to hear it, and it's how you train them, and like that's true. But most people are idiots, so how are you gonna trust them to train a pit bull the right way? Now, is the solution getting rid of pit bulls or making them illegal? I don't know. But
Yeah, I don't have the answer for that one.
Where'd they
when you
all
look
come
at
from?
pure
I feel
numbers
like I
alone,
never saw a pit bull in my life until like maybe 15 years ago, and then now they're just everywhere.
they've been overbred, and then they take up all the spots at all the shelters and
Oh
stuff. So
yeah,
if you go
man.
to adopt, it's like 90% pit bulls, and it's like people get them, then they move somewhere they can't have them. So I think it's a problem that way.
Like give
But
them a yeah. It's pretty sad to go into those shelters and see just endless pit bulls dominating all the cages there, the kennels or
right.
whatever. For sure.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to get pit bull activists mad at us.
Yeah,
Pit
no,
bulls are
yeah,
fine.
no,
I love
no, for
them.
sure.
They're cute.
Yeah,
If you have a
um,
pit bull, I'll pet it. It's fine.
yeah,
But yeah,
for sure.
I feel like that's as big of a sacrifice in quality of a choice as the ending by picking a dog that's inherently violent.
Evil. Yeah.
The evil.
Evil.
They're just inherently evil.
Yeah. You said it, not me. I did say it. But. So, we'll see where that comes. If it's Darren Aronofsky, I'll watch it for sure. Even if it's not, I'll probably watch it.
Netflix
I'm
is
trying.
pretty like they can be hit and miss on like adaptations of stuff, because they adapt a lot of like animes and stuff into live action and stuff too, and some of that's hit or miss. I think if you stick to the Cujo story, you really can't miss unless you just present it in a shitty way. It's a fucking scary situation. Anytime you're just isolated in a car like that, and a rabid dog, especially a big dog, friendly or not, you really can't miss. You really just have to like that'd be just up to the director to be like, well, I think I'm just gonna fuck this whole movie up. Like it's guaranteed to at least draw viewers. Everyone
Yeah.
wants to.
In
Everyone
the
like
new version,
right
Vic's going to cheat on Donna with Steve Kemp.
there we go. There we go.
Plot twist.
They're gonna make it pretty modern here.
Disney's directing.
Maybe it'll be Vic in the car instead of Donna, and Donna's away on like a business trip because she's a working woman now. We got to
But see,
modernize it.
Donna's going to make it back in time to save him, though.
There we go. With the gun too, no bat. She's just gonna fucking blow it away. Real quick, did Cujo only kill 3 people? Gary, the neighbor like the white trash neighbor down the street, Joe, and then the cop, right? Was it just 3 people?
And
Three,
Ted.
if you don't count Tad.
Well, he didn't really kill Tad. Tad kind of just died of circumstances, but
Well, yeah,
like
circumstances he caused.
Cujo physically killed only 3
He's getting
people.
manslaughter at least
Yeah.
for
Okay.
Tad.
So like it's not even the most like violent book Stephen King has ever done, but man, it's like you could deal with the other 3 dying, but once you get to that ending, it just like Justin said, dude, it just like punches
Rips
you in
your
the
heart out.
nuts and
That's surreal.
tugs at the heartstrings, man. Like it was like, oh Jesus Christ.
Well, going through it for the second time now, there's segments of the book where Tad thinks about himself when he's older, or they think about Tad when he's older, and it's like he ain't gonna make
Nobody
it.
told you guys?
You have no idea what's coming.
You guys have done this book more than once, right?
This is my second time doing the audiobook and second time seeing the movie.
Did it maintain the standard it had the first time you read it upon the second reading?
Yeah, definitely.
Because sometimes you can read a book. It's like sometimes you watch a scary movie the second time, and it's just not as good because you know what's coming. You know what to anticipate, and sometimes it kind of loses its shine or whatever. I think, Tyler, you might have said that about Conjuring, actually. You've just seen it enough. It doesn't have the effect it used to, but you guys said it still holds up, right? Because it's still a scary situation. Like, that can still happen, so.
Yeah. It's been long enough that I didn't remember absolutely everything. I pretty much remembered the main beats, but it was still entertaining. I still enjoy it. Stephen King is as famous as he is for a reason.
Oh,
He's
absolutely.
He's good at world building. He's good at, painting a picture and making characters that are interesting and, yeah. definitely to me still good.
He writes some long ass books, so the characters have to be interesting if you want to see how those stories play out. You want to follow Donna and Tad to the end. What's going to happen? Even Vic, when he's away, he's calling the house and they're not answering, and he's starting to worry, mainly about like Steve Kemp and this and that. And yeah, Stephen King does good at putting you in those situations and making you feel what they're feeling and stuff. So he nails that.
When they were in the book, by the time you get to the car scene, you're halfway through the book. So it's like that whole front half of the book, they're just character building and stuff. And it's amazing how much they're just regular people, but they're also, the writing is so dynamic in their character that it keeps you entertained.
Yeah, and this is one of his shorter offerings, which I think is why it translated better to movie than to me a lot of his adaptations do, like The Stand and It, and so many of his other books are so long that it's like you have to cut out so much just to put it on film that it kind of ruins it. Another one I thought was good was like Misery, and that's for the same reason. It's one of his shorter books, so it's easy to translate to a movie, and then
The Mist is the same way.
Yeah.
It's like a novella, so I mean the book like hits it damn near beat for beat, and then again, but like this one, they changed the ending between the movie and the book, and then you're like, oh fuck.
Well, then like The Body, Stand By Me, and Shawshank Redemption, like all of his like novellas and like short stuff make really good movies.
Yeah, for sure. Here's a question for you guys. If you're Donna, you're in that situation, would you have tried for the door? Because, and I'm only asking because it turns out it was unlocked, right? Like she could have, had she got there, she would have got in.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, and again, if you're in the car, you wouldn't have known that, but would you, as a man, not as Donna, would you have tried for the door?
She had even planned, if the door isn't unlocked, I'm going to break the window, reach in, get inside. Would I have tried for
Because at one point she said she was, because they start out closer to it, and then I think the Pinto kind of moves and it gets a little farther from the door, right? Like at one point she was like, all right, it's like 8 paces from the door. I can get there, but Cujo was always like lurking around. So I might have tried for the door, man.
I think
it'd been a tough situation. I think I would have tried.
I definitely would have schemed.
Once
I would have
Tad
been like,
starts,
all right, I'm gonna grab the bat, go for the door. Here's my exit strategy for making my way back to the car. If the door's locked,
Once Tad starts seizing, it's like you have to.
Yeah.
No.
It's like your decision's made for you at that point. But at that point, Cujo is like in front of the car at all times. There was a time when she missed her perfect opportunity when he went down to the watering hole.
I think there was a few times she could have made a break for that door, or even another break for the bat. Yeah, you're right. She had some windows there, and blew it.
I'm not blaming her. I don't think
Yeah. I don't mean to be a dick, for sure. Yeah.
I don't think that. I would definitely credit her to say that she did her best with what she had.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's easy to critique
tough
from the outside, but
right.
You got to think,
because even when they get to the end and Vic's like, I feel bad because I could have saved you guys if I didn't do this or if I didn't do that. Donna's like, no, you can't blame yourself, and it's like, he kind of has the same feelings towards her of like, if they hadn't waited that long, would Cujo still be strong enough to take her out even with the bat? Was it also the perfect case scenario where he was weak enough that she could take him out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he damn near knocks himself unconscious a few times running into that. He bangs into the door a million times, and she said even he was kind of like stumbling away, and kind of just like plops on the ground and lays there a little bit. Yeah, maybe she could have changed fate. I don't know, but she did the best she could. I'll give her that.
Maybe while Tad was still like coherent and she could still honk the horn, maybe if she would have went, and then when Cujo goes for her, have Tad like beep the horn, try to get his attention or something. I don't know.
Sure.
It's a really tough situation. But once my son starts seizing, I'm out the car. I'm moving.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
I'm not just gonna sit there and watch my son seize to death. Because I mean, at one point she's already bitten. She's already probably got rabies. Might as well go. The mail's not coming.
The clock's as soon as she's bit, the clock's really ticking.
For sure.
Yeah.
yeah, she gets bit. She's pretty fucked up in that
Because
whole.
that's the first serious thing that happens,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, well, as time goes on, this is just going to get worse.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, once you got bit, man, whatever you were thinking, you better pick a plan and act because the clock is ticking. And
Yeah, her inner monologue is so scary. Just thinking about like getting rabies and like how long does it take for rabies to take into effect, and how am I going to get out of here? Is the mailman going to come? Like her idea of like honking to see if the house down the hill, which we know Gary Purview's already dead, but I feel like her thoughts were right most of the time, but at a certain point, you just got to go.
Did she like beat the shit out of the dog the same way in the movie as she did in the book?
so in the book, wasn't the bat already broken? I thought
That's why
she's
the handle was
It was
taped. It
splattered.
was a little
oh,
splintered.
okay, that's what it was. I guess in my head, I thought it was already like broken and like fractured and like more of a shank. But in the movie, she's obviously like beats the shit out of it, breaks it. And you're right. I guess that's what it was. I guess I just misunderstood the book a little bit. Yeah. So
I couldn't remember if she like really wailed on him like that in the movies, or if they're like, all right, 2 or 3, and we got the point established.
she
But
definitely
like in the book, she's like, and this one's for that, and that one's for this.
she
Oh yeah, she's
definitely
nuts.
she goes like full Arnold
Just more of
Schwarzenegger
the death
Predator,
in the
and she's
book.
like, "Well, come on, then, come
Yeah, that
on,
was nasty.
like do it, come on." And yeah, dude, she slugs the shit out of that dog, man.
Do you think you are? I
Right, right. Yeah, she was brave for sure, for sure. It was a good movie. It was very of its time. Even Justin, like you said, talking about it being a time capsule, even the point of Vic showing up right as she handles the business, which is just a little too late for Tad, just in time for her. He's very like storybook. Like nowadays, if that movie got made, I think A, it'd be scarier, right? I think B, maybe the movie would be better, and C, that maybe change Vic either show up way after or something. I don't know, but him showing up at that exact moment was very of its time, I thought. So
If they make it now, I'd be interested to see how they do the dog. I wouldn't want it to be ruined with like too much CGI. Yeah, I'm thinking
well, look at
about
it,
like
he's on
the
dog, right?
sequences where you got the dog's head coming in through the window, and it's like, God, I would be shitting my pants.
yeah, because
Like it.
he's like
That's one
paws
thing the movie
on the
does
window
well.
and he's drooling and just blood and shit running down the window. It's all gross, man.
I remember as a kid, I'd see the cover for Cujo, and my thought was like, ooh, haunted, scary dog. And then it actually surprised me when I first read it that it was rabies and not like some kind of curse or some kind of magic.
Right.
Like I
Pretty
totally
good
misunderstood it
curse.
as a kid. As a kid, I was like, that looks scary as fuck, dude. I'm staying away from that. And then as an adult, it was like, oh, it was rabies the whole time?
Did you say this was your first time seeing the movie, Tyler?
No.
Okay.
I saw it a lot of times when I read a book, if I find out there's a movie, I'll watch the movie
Sure.
and be disappointed. Something about even like watching the movie first. So like one of my favorite book series, which we will cover, John dies at the end. I saw the movie before I even knew a book existed. And I was like, oh, this movie was pretty good. I want to read the book. And then I read the book. And now when I watch the movie, I'm like, man, this kind of sucks.
It happens,
Like
man.
it ruined my opinion of a movie I already liked.
I've heard
Yeah,
both
but
you
see, that's
talk
another
about
one to me where it's like it does a perfect trailer for the book. Like it's just good enough advertising where it's like, if you even like this a little bit, this is going to be so fucking sick for you.
Yeah, sometimes the book can just be like surface level, or the movie can be surface level of the book, like a surface cover of it, and then you watch the movie, then you get to the book, and then you get the nitty gritty stuff, and then you're like, oh man, okay, this. I sometimes movie you're able to understand the movie more. It might make a little more sense, and then oftentimes you can be like, oh damn, this was way better than the movie. Like there's so much they
Yeah.
left out, or changed, or whatever.
Yeah, going forward with the segment, I'm going to continue to read the book first, just because I think it's easier to remember that way if you do the long one and then the short one. So I read the book. There's a lot of information. It's really dense. And then you do the movie. It's quicker, easier to forget. So I want to do that last. Plus, it's easier to pick out the differences when you do the book. But in my real life, sometimes I like to watch the movie first, just so I can appreciate it, just so I can enjoy it.
For sure.
Actually, I think I listened to the book twice and I watched the movie probably 3 times. just over the course of getting ready for this.
Oh,
You listened to
damn.
the whole book twice?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
considered doing that, but then I was like, well, I got to get Rattlesnakes done, and I also wanted to watch some interviews and like read some like trivia and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I just had some time, obviously at work and late at night, nothing to watch. It's like, shit, I'll turn this on again and see if I can pick something out.
I was on track to like finish. I think I told Tyler I was like, I'm gonna finish right up until we record here, and then I had a day at work where I had a few hours where I got the audiobook and kind of get me that much further ahead. Now, super helped. So
yeah, I was trying to. That's why I kept asking you guys the whole time, like, how far are you? I was trying to lay
Yeah.
off the gas because it was a 12-hour audiobook. I could burn that in a week, easy. So I was like, I'll listen to it on the way to work. That's like 25 minutes. On the way home from work, that's another 25 minutes. There's one task at work I have where I can listen to it. So that's like another 15, 20 minutes. So I'm getting at least an hour a day. I'm like 12 hours for the book. That's 12 days. Like, shit, I'm going to be done way before everyone else. And I was done before you guys, but I don't know how you had time to do it. I guess I could have done it twice had I hit the gas the first time and then just immediately went into it again.
Well, that was what I realized when we first started talking about where we're at in the book. Is as soon as because at work, as long as I'm not talking to somebody, I'm generally listening to something. So I can run it all day on the way home while I'm walking the dog. So it's nothing for me to burn like 6 hours of a book in a day. And so I realized pretty quick, I was like, all right, my pace is going to be kind of weird on this. Maybe I'll just keep sticking my toes in it, see what happens.
Well, yeah, Chris, when you said you were actually reading it, I was like, oh shit, I got to slow down.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
I
what
started too
should've-
quick. I think I started
Right.
first too, and I was like, fuck, why did I do this?
I had the book, the audiobook on hold from the library for weeks before we even talked about doing this stuff. And I was just like, okay, I'll finish it after I get done reading the Dark Tower stuff. And then when
I
you
thought
said
you said Spotify had all of them.
yeah, well, when you said you wanted to do this, that's when I was like, okay, apparently I'm never going to get the library book. So that's when I downloaded the Spotify version, and then which I only ended up using like 2 hours of, because I was just, most of my time was at home and I don't get a lot of audiobook time at work. So I just got the physical book pretty fast and just train rolled through it, man. It was a good read.
Yeah.
It's a really simple read too, which helps. It's not with Stephen King's supernatural shit. You're kind of got to understand what the supernatural stuff is, how it works. Sometimes his movies or his books have like a very generous population, and you're got a lot of characters to remember. But this was a super simple read.
Any other thoughts before we wrap it up here?
No, like I said, this was on my read list for a long time. I was just putting some of King's other stuff before it, and this was good. I'm glad I knocked it out. This was a good chance to do it, and like I said, I haven't seen the movie in like 20 years, and that was also good to get a refresher on. So this was a good opportunity, good segment. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've always had it in my head of an idea of like a podcast like this where you do the book and the movie, talk about the differences, and at the top of my list has always been Cujo because of the ending and the differences, and like I said, I've thought about it a lot, and yeah, it's good to talk about it with you guys. And Justin, did you have anything else?
I think that's all I got for now.
Do we do ratings like we usually do?
I was wondering that too. I don't know about a rating. I think in my head I was just like, are we going to decide? Did you like the book more or the movie more? But,
okay.
I mean,
Well,
if you want to give a movie out of 10 or something, absolutely we can. I got a number in my head, so whatever.
Let's say, to me, it's hard to judge to give the movie a fair number since it's based off a book. So I'm going to say I would recommend both.
Absolutely.
Both are great. Both are worth your time. Is the book better than the movie, or the other way around?
No, book's better than movie. All day.
I 100% agree. Yeah, all day.
Yeah, unanimous. I think it's going to be pretty common on this segment. Book better. I do have one in mind. I'm not ready to do it yet, but when we do it, it'll be the rare exception where the movie is better. I'm not going to get into that right now, but
not even going to give us the title. You got me all anxious now. What one are you talking about?
Yeah, we'll get there. It's
a little bit awesome.
It's high up on my list, but I want to get a few of these under our belt before we dive into that one. So I'm going to agree the book is better. Pretty obvious. Go out there, check it out. If you like what we're doing, share with your friends, leave comments, likes, all that stuff helps us.
Tell your friends, tell your moms.
Tell your mom.
Yeah, book lovers, movie lovers, you guys will definitely have a treat, I think, with these. Stephen King lovers, which I think a lot of people are, you'll have a treat with this. This was fun all the way around. Whether you hate movies and like books, whether you like, movies and hate books, or whatever the opposite of what I just said was, there's something in this for everyone. And I think
Yeah,
this
if you
one
like
really is.
stories,
It's
Yeah.
a real roller coaster.
It is, yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's realistic. It could happen. I mean, you hear about people getting attacked by rabid dogs. Like, that's not uncommon. So this was cool. This was a lot of fun.
yeah. So remember to think outside the box office.
That's right. Later, guys.